So exactly how good did AFK Journey do in the first full month of being released? As we talked about previously, the last like 3 or 4 days of the previous month, March, when the game actually launched, it made somewhere in the ballpark of like $2 to $4 million. It's made quite a bit more this month. However, I think the number we're going to show you guys here is grossly lower than what they actually are seeing, because yeah, you remember the Farlight Pass and the store and everything that's online, and me among others use that much more than anything in game through the App Store. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. Let's see how much they actually made for the month of April. So one of the places I love going to get my data for a lot of these games is Sensor Tower. It's one of a few different websites you can go to and talks about how much they've actually made. And you can see right here, revenue last month, downloads, all this stuff. But sometimes this doesn't actually work properly if you look at the actual games that they have. Sometimes you actually have to jump in here and look at the actual information. So it says Lilith mobile revenue was a total of 50 million. However, you have to remember that includes all of their titles. That's Call of Dragons, that's AFK Arena, all that fun stuff. From the looks of it, as far as I think this one is Android. Yeah, this is Android. They made about 10 million this past month. However, there's multiple listed in here because there are ones for Android and there's one for iOS. You can see right here you have the Android version. This is the one that made 10 million last month, and then we have the iOS version here. If we go into Farlight Games, they made about 14 million. So probably combined they made somewhere in the $25 million range. That right there is a good start. It's not crazy because, you know, those Honkai Star Rail, Genshin, those things make so much money, but as far as most games go, this is definitely top 10 revenue for the kind of gacha genre that is out there. But I think what a lot of people are missing is that's probably, I don't know, maybe even less than half. It's hard to say, because one thing people forget is a lot of us whales, we save 5% on all the packs by using their online site, which completely bypasses the App Store, whether it's Android or iOS, because of course they get a bigger share of the profits, not having to go through these app stores that take huge amounts. There's still, of course, taxes and fees associated with it, but let's go just anecdotally from my own personal experience. So we're jumping over to the Pluto Mall that Farlight has. They pretty much have like every single game on the market out there. They have the AFK Journey, Rise Kingdoms, Dislike, Call of Dragons. They got all of their titles on here. And this is basically what we are going for. You have to also make sure whether you're on one of the beta servers or the regular release. This is what a lot of people have done. You can see you can link your account right here to it, and you can just buy crystals. You can buy monthly cards and stuff like that. All the special deals you can purchase through here. And why would we do that? Well, we get a 5% bonus in dragon crystals. So number one, if you guys have been spending a lot of money and you haven't been doing this, you're basically missing 5% of the progress, power, summons, whatever you want to call it. You're missing 5% right off the bat by not using this. There's a link in every single video. It's called the Pluto Mall link. If you go to that on your browser, you'll get that. Of course, there are the perks right here. You can get the special sword back cosmetic as well for using it, even just for $1. I think if you just do this one right here for $1, that one counts as well. But it has tons of different payment methods and everything. You can, I mean, there's a crazy amount. You can manage the cards right on the site, all these things. And to be honest, if I look at what my spending was, I did about 80% of my overall spending right here on the Pluto Mall. I think the only thing I did in-game were any of the pop-up packs that didn't need these dragon crystals. Any pop-up pack that was just like $1, $5, things like that. Anything that we bought in the actual store though, and even our monthly cards, we bought on here. Granted, the monthly cards, you don't really save anything, and it tells you how many you actually have. I think we have 8 of them saved up. But yeah, you can see why I think that overall number isn't really that accurate. So I don't know about you guys, but I definitely follow the Gacha Gaming Reddit all the time. I love seeing what's coming, what's going, all the different stories. And one thing some people actually post on here are the actual like total list of a good majority of the most popular mobile games out there. And surprisingly, you can see here, this is where that 19 million that we're getting pretty much come from both Android and iOS. AFK Journey is up there pretty good. Like I said, they're pretty much in the top 10 of monthly revenue. Granted, you have to remember, it's the release month. Things are going to go crazy on release month, and then they kind of slow down. You can see even AFK Arena still making like 3.8 with the release of the new types of heroes. But I mean, this number I think is not even close to the actual accurate. You can see in March it hit 2.5. That was just from like 3 or 4 days of being out there. In reality, I feel like it's probably like number 3 on the list, just because of the sheer amount of spending going on outside of the apps. Maybe the same thing happens in Genshin and Honkai. I don't know if they actually have a third-party site to bypass the app stores and stuff. It's a crazy amount of money they're pulling in, but I think it's way over 20 million. And I think this number has probably dropped up even more in the past week or so, because if you really think about it, most of the whales out there, we kind of built our team. We have our team. It's all set. We're not buying anything else right now. However, what do we have coming up in just 3 more days for this month? Well, the first ever season, Song of Strife. Now, with this season here, there's charms coming out. There's new game modes to get those charms. There's seasonal skills. I guarantee you there are going to be some very premium packs. PvP is probably one of the few places there's not going to be something going on. But yeah, there's more open world stuff, and honestly, based on all of this information, I wouldn't be surprised if they have ways to boost things like charms, the new seasonal artifacts. I guarantee you there's probably gonna be an option in the store to just purchase a good majority of them, just like we did on the launch. There were like 2 directly in the store that you could get. One of them was the confining spell. You could purchase them on day 1 and it instantly got you what you wanted. There's definitely gonna be speed of mechanics. However, I think people are also realizing you don't necessarily need to go as hard on spending in this game unless you're pushing like the very top 1 or 2 ranks. And of course, spending's really gonna depend on your server itself, because even myself, we usually stay in the top 30, 20 to 30 typically on our own account. Dream Realm, we usually stay within the top 25. It just depends on if I try that day to really push our progression. We have a lot of whales on our server, so this is where the fighting at the top is pretty tight. There's one guild that pretty much rules most of it, and then we kind of fall in behind them. But it's interesting. It's definitely interesting, because I've seen some servers where free to play can literally be in the top 20, and then I've seen others where you're spending and you're barely in the top 20. It really just depends on how many whales are on your server. And again, with the upcoming season, you're going to see another surge of spending happening. So will it replicate the first month? I really don't know. It really comes down to what those packs look like. So even if the Pluto Mall wasn't like a gigantic amount, which it's hard for me to think it is, considering like at least 2/3 of my spending went through the Pluto Mall and didn't even touch the app stores. It's got to be at least that much. But even at just at like 25 million, it's already in like the top 5 to 6 games out there. Again, remember, it's the first month and it's always one of the biggest months for spending. However, you have a new season coming out, so I'm intrigued to see how the spending goes from month 1 into month 2. But month 2 has a big feature coming out. Now, month 3, 4, 5, those might be a little bit of a slowdown, but seeing where this kind of levels off is going to be very important to see what the player base looks like and what the spender player base looks like. Hopefully you guys enjoy this one. I'll see you guys next time.